All right. So, I haven't worked out all this streaming stuff yet. It's kind of been a nightmare. But let's see if I can. Yeah, that's what I thought. So the titles are all wrong and it wouldn't send out all the titled stuff. So the way I'm going to do this is literally just on my desktop. You see I have 4 files available here. Oh wait, you don't see anything. 1 second. Yeah. So you'll see I have 4 files here for SolCraft. SolCraft lore origins, or SolCraft lore history, SolCraft lore races, SolCraft units. We're going to start with the origin and see where it goes. So just so you know my process, I always start with written notes. I've got a notebook. I always have some sort of notebook on me. And whenever I'm out somewhere doing something, whatevering, I might find time to sit down and write. And so I always have a notebook available for that. In this case, we've got a couple pages of notes from discussions, and then we've got two pages of lore. So what we're going to start with is basically putting that lore to digital so that everyone can see it. I imagine this is going to be tough to read. I know I have an ultra widescreen monitor and that can be super annoying. Go with like a 12-point font here. But before I do that, I need to update all the just chatting shit, or I might get in trouble. Probably says Warcraft or something. No, just chatting. It doesn't matter. All right, good. We're all good. We're all good. Let's get started. I'm gonna bring the chat over here so you guys can chat along with me. I'm doing very well, thank you. Family's out of town, so I have more time to stream. Yo, what's up? What's up, Grizchi? Cyber Preachers in the house. Alright, let's just get started. So, SolCraft. We're SolCrafting. You thought I was a girl? No, that's the lo-fi hip-hop girl. Oh, dear God. Alright, I'm just gonna go verbatim as a starting point. In the beginning, the universe was cold and dark. No life stirred, no worlds, no stars. Until one day, the energies of the infinite dimensions coalesced into a spark of consciousness. An entity was born that day, known as the first soul. There is no record of this time, for it spanned billions of years, as we would know them, and ended at the time of first creation. The first soul decided that it need not be alone, that it would share its spark of life. Thus, it exploded across the universe into an infinite array of stars and worlds. So just so you guys know, this lore is basically not forward-facing lore. This is lore. This is called back lore. This is the true creation lore for a universe. And the reason that you do this is so that whenever you make a decision in the future about how the world works, you refer back to this lore and make sure that it all makes sense within the context of whatever you've set up. Because if you don't do that, things get out of control real quick, which you might have seen with Warcraft. Okay. Now the point of all this. Within each world, the embers of the first soul burned bright. Upon those worlds, life began to form in all its glorious and diverse ways. Its only limitation, the imagination of the dying thoughts of the first soul. Yeah, he died. He died for you guys. It's not exactly a game Bible, it's more a lore Bible. It's this in the same way that if you were doing, let's say you were designing a company logo and you wanted to have like sets of colors and things that everyone used whenever they referred to your brand, be like that's like the brand Bible. This is sort of the lore Bible. So whenever someone creates something new in the universe, they have to refer back to the originating lore to make sure that it fits within it. This is malleable though. This is just my first pass. So there's probably going to be some changes as I'm thinking about it. As life sprang up from the dying dreaming god, an interdimensional race of jealous monsters took notice. They hated the selflessness of the first soul's creation, of this four-dimensional universe. These three wicked gods decided to work together to destroy the creations of the first soul. So this lore would not be something you encounter in the game. This would be something like the only way you would get to this lore in the game is if you were to encounter a god or maybe commune with the dreams of the dying god, the first soul. That's the only two possibilities, which are both probably not going to happen within the first several years. They called themselves Orata. Probably heard of them. My stream's title is just Spis. Oh, that's not good. I thought I fixed that. I can't change the title. Restream is fighting with me for some reason. What the fuck is SolCraft again? SolCraft is an NFT game coming soon. If you'd like more information about SolCraft, you can go where can you go? Should I just send people to the Discord? Let me send you to the Discord for SolCraft. Hidden use copy button. All right. If you want to learn more about SolCraft, you can go to the Discord. All right. Blowing up my Twitter. All right. That's it. That's where I was. So. Now we're in new territory. As the Maratha slowly creeped along the universe's edge and ate away at world after world. The dying dreams of the first soul created a hidden pocket in which the world of SolCraft could form. And we sort of need a name for this world. How much do I work on SolCraft right now? Well, I'm working on it now. So that should tell you something. I bothered to write stuff in one of my notebooks. That's kind of a good indication. So now we have forward-facing lore in Ivan the Hunter. Let me see how I need to bridge this gap here. So what I need is a pocket. So what I'm doing here is I'm creating a pocket dimension so that these godlike beings, these three evil gods, cannot get in. And they have to find a way to influence it indirectly, thus they create the orcs. But before I can create the orcs, I have to create the core world. So yeah, it's all Solana. Green energy for the win. Galaxy. Yeah, I think they're galactic consumption. Barrier would protect the inhabitants from the direct influence of the Maratha for quite some time. Within that pocket dimension. Anyway, I don't think we can call the world SolCraft. Should we do the classic kind of Solania? Sol means sun. Do we go Latin? Latin dictionary. Really? No. Is Sol Latin? Yeah, that's what I thought. A search with inflected folds. I need a reverse. How do you do the reverse? English to Latin. Sun. Solus. Earth. Terra. Solterra. That's a little bit on the nose. Gem. Doesn't translate. Gem is gem. Wow, gem never changed. Invicta. Yeah? Wait. Oh, I gotta reverse it to do that. Invincible. Oh, now you're thinking. Let's go with that. Sol Invictus. Why don't we just call it Invictus? I think if we put Sol on everything, it's going to get tiresome. Invictus, meaning invincible. I like it. Well done. Well done, Scott. Within that pocket dimension, The world of Invictus flourished. And many life forms grew and evolved. Chief among them, the dwarves. Yeah, we're doing lore creation here for SolCraft. I tried to update the damn things. How do I change the title of a stream that's live already on YouTube? Yeah, I see what you mean. It is SP semicolon S. That's effed. I hate streaming. Just to be clear, it's not my favorite thing to do. It's just that I hate streaming. No, see, that's not at all what I wanted. SPS, edit, broadcast options, SolCraft, lore creation. Let's write things together. Now I have to do it individually for each one, just because. That is, yeah. Over here it thinks I'm playing Warcraft 3. I am not. I don't think they have a just chatting option. Technically we're an indie game. Vibe tag? I'm not even gonna mess with that. I have no idea what that means. And over here, is there any way to change the YouTube one? I don't think there is. Where's my live tools? Son of a bitch. SolCraft is professional work. The only personal project I have is Jessa the Pirate Queen, which we're not doing today. Maybe another day. YouTube. Is YouTube Studio gonna have this option? Live? Live? Hello? Live? Live? Nope. 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 And nope. But I am live. I can click go live, but I have no idea what that's gonna do. It's gonna mess everything up for sure. Is there no way to change a stream that's already gone live? Wait. If it loads. Okay. Yes. Yes, there is. Got it. Got it. Okay, guys. Yeah. See, that didn't take long. Lore creation for SolCraft. Save. Okay. Now we may continue. Where are we at? If dwarves are the main race, why would they be called dwarf? Why wouldn't they be called dwarf? Do they need a fancier name? A SolCraft about earthlings, bugs, and blue people. I'll try. Wait a second. No, we're not doing Avatar. Get that crap out of here. I didn't make Warcraft 3 by myself. I get uncomfortable when people say that. Chief among them, the dwarves. So, let's see. We have dwarves, orcs, elves, and fae. Who should the first race be? It doesn't have to be the one that we've already sold. Right? Let's go with the Fae. Damn it, Scott, shut up. It's an honor to watch a stream by the man who made Warcraft 3 all by himself. If that person existed, yeah, it would be an honor. I think you're looking for a stream from like a I can't think of anyone who made the entire game all by themselves. Because everyone has some weakness, like the music or something. Dave is the sole reason that Arthas did nothing wrong. God damn it, Scott. I shaved the beard. It was getting annoying. I'll grow it back. It takes like a couple weeks. Alright, let's start. I want to start with the Fae. The first born daughters. Were the Fae. Magical creatures who loved the world and helped spread the joy of life across its many landscapes. The Fae seeds became the roots that would eventually grow into the dwarves, the orcs, and the elves. Getting Over It, was it made by one guy? I think it was made by one guy, but I don't think he made the music. But I could be wrong. I had nothing to do with Undertale. Oh my god. Now you guys are just trolling me. I created all of World of Warcraft myself, including the music. Okay. Sure I did. Alright, let's get serious. Let's get serious. Get into the world. So what do we have here? We have the beginning of consciousness, the first god, a unknown creation period, a time he spent alone, and then he decides to sacrifice himself to create life. And as life sprang up from the dying, dreaming god, an interdimensional race of jealous monsters took notice. And we got the Murata. And then the first soul creates the hidden pocket dimension in this dying, dreaming state. And the barrier would protect the inhabitants from the direct influence of the Murata for quite some time. Elves. The elves were the next born. What are the landscapes again? I know I wrote this down. Right. Associate them with emotions? Well, that's one thing that we need to think about is what is the core theme of this world? We need a theme that brings it all together, something that we can hit upon again and again. I think preservation is kind of the main theme right now. So I think one of the core pillars has to be the preservation of life. To grew to love creations in the world of Invictus. They cultivated the land and brought about new creatures and new fauna and flora, rapidly evolving it into useful and beautiful creations. The elves were thus known as the artists of life. Thus, the Fae became known as the bringers of life. We're going to run into some trouble with the dwarves next, though, I can tell you already. Link slaughtered all of Strathholm. You guys are off in some tangent world shit. I don't know what's going on. It's not time for a disaster yet. We got to get the other two races going. The dwarves sprung forth from the stone and soil of Invictus. They became architects, and carvers of architects and miners, bringing beauteous stones and gems to the sun, where they would carve them into beautiful and permanent creations in celebration of their journeys. From the ground, mountains and hills into beautiful natural. Not liking this. Are dwarves more like Warhammer Gunpowder dwarves, or more like Tolkien ones? I'm thinking I'm going half halfling, half dwarf, like Tolkien style. Not like Lalafell at all. It was the dwarves who brought metals and magma to bear, forging beauteous and dangerous creations. No, beauteous and helpful creations like tools. And castles. Castles? Fortresses. Thus the dwarves were known as the architects of life. Lastly, and most foul, the orcs were born. Abominations of swamp and swill and shit. No, let's not do that. Need angels? Look, I'm working with what I've been given here. What accents will the dwarves have? Jamaican? No. I would think these dwarves would be Irish, right? They're like living in the hills and they got some mountain stuff going on. Let's do some Irish dwarves. We're not going to worry about that though. We'll think about that when we get to voice actors. Lastly and most foul, the orcs were born, abominations of swamp and swill, who loved the dirt and destruction they could wreak. wreak upon the pristine world around them. And it was the orcs who began the first wars. Oh shit, that's very Warcrafty. Well, we'll need a name for this. The War of Destruction, wherein they pleasured themselves by tearing apart and burning as much of the elves, fae, and dwarven creations as they could get their hands upon. Thus it was the dwarves and elves who worked together to craft the first weapons of war. The blades and shields they bore helped them drive the orcish hordes back into the swamplands. Could only fight amongst each other. Thus, the destruction was abated for a time. Finnish accent. Interesting. Interesting. Working and drinking a beer. It's very German, yeah. All right. How are we doing so far? Oh, right. Here's where the Morata come in. Unbeknownst to those of Invictus, the Morata had come upon the pocket dimension of their world. They could not break through, as much as they tried. For the first soul made the dimensions in workings indecipherable to them. But they creeped within its cracks and soon found a way to influence those who lived upon the surface of the world. The Fae rejected them, of course, knowing their evil intent, and warned the others not to listen. But the orcs quickly fell under their rhymes. But the orcs quickly fell under their spell. We don't want that. But the orcs quickly succumbed to their will under the promise of wanton destruction. No. We got it. They succumbed to their will. Classic. Do. Soul is actually evil theory confirmed? No. They're destructive. They just like smashing things. It's part of the life cycle of a world. The things are built and then they must be destroyed so that you can rebuild them better. It's a cycle. I need to finish this entire thing with Welcome to the World of SolCraft. Okay, Scott. Fine. The dwarves too heard the whisperings of the Morata. I need to do the Morata. That's what I forgot. Let's make some space up here. Because I named 3 of them. Or we have to name 3 of them. Right? Yeah, 3 wicked gods. Alright. Let's do some demon shit. They're called the Maratha, so we need like kind of... It's almost Moroccan sounding names. Ooh. Oh, that's a name. Mortem, meaning death. NVIDIA. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. I have an NVIDIA GeForce RTX here. Big Booba Succubi. Oh my god. Is Warcraft 3 onwards the only setting where the orcs aren't savage and stupid war people? No. I would say that they're not savage and stupid war people in classic Dungeons and Dragons. No, never mind. Not classic, but the latest editions of Dungeons and Dragons, they're not so much. Does it bother you that these orcs are evil? Dave getting sued in 3-2. Sued by who? Is Mortem a demon god or something? Is that already used? Could be. Oh, you mean NVIDIA? Yeah, that would get me sued. We're not going to do that. We have to find another word. God damn it, Latin and your lame singular words that were the roots of everything. Destruction? Interitus. Mortem interitus. Oof. Sanguis. I mean, yeah, but I understand, but isn't that weird? I guess they could have meant it as... No, it's like all bad. Everything's bad. Envy, jealousy, odium, unpopularity, hatred, dislike. What a strange thing to name your company. I don't even know if they knew. They must have, though. Surely you would look it up. Latin was preceded by Greek. Yeah. Yeah, they should seem as primordial as possible. Mortem. The god of death. Crawling. Pulling inky black soul from the depths of a darkened soul from the depths of a black hole. I gotta stop doing this rhyming shit. It is said that to look upon him is to look upon the end of existence. And Mortem wishes for nothing more than the cessation of all life and all light. Evil God 1, Evil God 2. Crap. What was this one? What? Destruction. Fucking Latin, man. Ruin. Is there a better word in here? Not really. Oh. Is it okay generally to introduce 4 definitions in the very first sentence you wrote, expecting a prior understanding from the player? You say beginning universe cold dark. No, this is not forward-facing lore. Again, this is lore for us to understand the world. This is not lore to give to players and go, read this, it's fun. This is not fun lore. This is development lore, if that makes sense. I'm trying to make it fun, but I mean, I understand if you're bored. God of Destruction. Interitus was born in the destruction explosion of one of the upper dimensions, cascading across them all and destroying countless worlds in his wake. Interitus seeks to destroy all of creation and in the most explosive way possible. We're very one note right now. Sanguis, god of blood. You can write a similarly, Jesus, F that fucking book. Yes, something like a Tolkien style dictionary kind of thing. But no, you wouldn't do that. The point here is to make something simple enough that we can just keep track of it all. If I can sell this for $20 as player lore, who would buy this? No, I mean, okay, technically I've been paid for this, so. SkyDrive had to be named OneDrive because they got sued? Who owns SkyDrive? You're currently running a world where orcs are angry, but they as a people learn not to be chaotic for the sake of coexistence. That's interesting. I don't always like to tell dwarf jokes, but when I do, I like to keep them short. Kill me. Sanguis is the god of ritual sacrifices. The only Warata. The only Warata who seeks out life individually, so that this is going to be a she. Personally witness being snuffed out. Sanguis revels in the bloodbath of wars and psychosis. Where blood spilled, Sanguis will seek it across the universe. Alright, kind of got an idea there. There's some crossover here between Mortem and Interitus. I like the name Interitus, but he needs a little bit more something. Seems like a god obsessed with bombs. Do I always start out with plain text? Isn't it better to tag everything straight into some kind of database? No, I don't want to put everything into a database. I don't go to a database until I've got something solid. This is all like vague background lore stuff that probably no one's even going to work with directly, because this is not directly one-to-one going into anything. Sky, the television streaming company, sued Microsoft, arguing that Microsoft's SkyDrive would be confused with their brand, and the judge ruled in favor of Sky. Oh. So that's why it's OneDrive. Got it. Blood for the Blood God. Hide a hydralisk in a thicket? Wrong universe. Dwarves too heard the whisperings of the Marauta. Let's go back to Antiritus. I think this guy's not going to work. He's got too much crossover with Mortem. So we've got Mortem, Sanguis, who also have a lot of crossover. We need something else. It's got to be... God damn it. Cupidatus? Cupidus? What the F? Jesus Christ. Avaricia. Ooh. I'm liking that. Avaritia. Avaritia. Avaricia. I wish I knew how to pronounce Latin. Avaritia. There we go. This is going to work much better. Covetousness. Avaritia. Relishes in the collection of souls. And precious gems. In which she stores them. We got 2 female dead gods. I think that'll work. Avaritia encourages her followers to collect these things for her before she harvests their souls and sows them into her infinite robe of the lost. Throughout the worlds, she has collected millions, and then she seeks the last of the first souls. Children. There, that's better. Yeah, they need a little bit more, that's for sure. They're the one-dimensional thing. But I think it works for Mortem. Sanguis needs a little bit more. I think Avaritia is going to work quite well. I think the way to balance Sanguis is the need for worship. Also, deep desire to be worshipped. Where there are followers to be had and blood to be spilled, Sanguis will appear. So Mortem is basically going to be like the god who's very one note. Basically, let's just snuff everything out and get rid of it. But Sanguis and Avaritia are both going to be playing games here. So we've got some conflict within the 3. Avaritia revealed to them the riches, the deep dark, where... Oh shit, what's it called? Solania? I'm missing some notes. Did I put them on post-its? God damn it. These are dangerous. I use them for note-taking, but really shouldn't do that. Here we go. thematic concept around destroying and perverting life. Yeah, no, that's what I'm going for. Sol means sun, but in this case it means Solana, the token. It's all sort of derivative of that. But it's also, Solana itself is derivative of Sol, meaning the sun, because it's primarily green energy focused. This is not related. This I need to do later. Ghost detective. What is this for? No idea. SolCraft is intended to be an RTS. However, initially it will be a harvesting game. Character options. Oh, different game. I think it's called Solana. Can someone correct me if I'm wrong? Green energy isn't actually green, it's ultimately nuclear powered energy because the sun is a giant fusion reactor. Problem solved. Just make more nuclear reactors. Not a very popular answer right now. Yeah, Roman mythology, the sun god. So consumption, deceiving people by promising them Valhalla after their valiant death. Yeah. When I go into the dark gods and what they're offering, I guess I will. All right. Reveal to them the riches of the deep dark, where the very dying life essence of the first soul still rested and gave life to the world of Invictus. She encouraged them to dig deep and find the Solana, which would empower them and forever grant them dominance upon the world, over the world. The dwarves grew greedy and began to dig, devoting their lives to finding the Solana, and soon they struck upon it in all its glory. Okay, that's chapter 1. So I'll have to name these something. Chapter 21, chapter 2. If the gods subvert races individuals differently, the sadist gives huge power to small numbers, and the murder, death, kill god just recruits an army at the local bar. Well, yeah, divide and conquer. Well, I guess the Marathas' problem with Invictus is that they don't have direct influence. Normally, they just eat the world and be done with it, and it would take, like, you know, maybe a year. In this case, they have to find a way to kill the world with using the world. So they sort of have to approach the races in such a way that they either destroy themselves or destroy each other. So Solana is what you'll be mining in the game. It is also, I think it's the crypto of the game. So when you mine Solana, it actually can be used like money. Though I'm not 100% on all that, so that's something I need to clarify later. But I know that it's important, and that mining it is the primary motivation of the dwarves, so that's why I had to get to that point. And now we have it. Now the question is, do I go after the elves and the fae at the same time, or do those sort of become the good races? Or maybe they're dealing with the orcs, and that's why the dwarves are kind of like left to their own devices. No, you don't mine bitcoins, you mine Solana, which I believe it's on the Solana blockchain, therefore it's green. Greenish. Vespian gas? No. There will be no Vespian gas. Alright. Let's think here. I think that sets up the first part of the history. Actually, you know what? I think an Excel sheet's better. This is effectively a play-to-earn game, so you would make money by playing it. Let me see. Era, or what? How do we do this? Epoch. Era. Time period. Summary. Events. Description. Blah. Origin, time period, minus there's probably not enough zeros to get in there. God damn it. 3, 1, 2, 3. Summary. For soul sacrifices himself to create the universe. Can never find the wrap text. There it is. True creation. Making any race too homogenous in its way of thinking isn't good either. Yeah. Fae can be pure good guys. They understand life the best. Elves could have a few bad apples as opposed to the dwarves who have many bad ones, and the orcs who are all bad. Yeah, they'll all have subcultures and stuff. I don't think, none of them are one note. But for the purposes of developing like a base lore, you kind of have to oversimplify. Just makes it easier. Also gets you in trouble though. Let's see. We don't need any more than that. Probably don't need descriptions if we're just doing a base version of this. Origin. Invictus. Time period 0 to. This should be a period of about 250 years, 500 years. No, we have evolution in here. Shit. We'll go 250,000. The world of Invictus is created. Fair. Go up to minus 10. 10,000. Or do we want to drop? Let's go with each one. 200,000. The elves. No. Life has spread. The elves are born. Function minus 100,000. Are the elves wood, high, or dark? How about all of them? They're everywhere, just like I think the Fae are. I think the there was like 4 landscapes, and then like each race was gonna have a landscape associated with them, but I kind of either didn't take the note or lost the note, which sometimes happens when I do post-it note shit. Yeah, I'm not sure. We'll just have to see. But they should be a mix. I think it's more interesting when the elves are mixed and they're not all one note. Like, Tolkien elves are kind of boring, and I get annoyed when people copy them too much because they're all like highbrow, living in spiral shit. There are 6 elf races in WoW, and high elves are still unplayable. Really? That's just weird. Night elves are just evolved trolls and used to condescend to everyone. High elves used to be condescending but had to eat humble pie. Blood elves are comically villainous at times. Yeah, Kale was always kind of weird. High elf, dark elf, Santa elf. Santa elf are winter elves. They live in the snow. Alright. Destruction. The Morata. So their arrival is basically the impetus Invictus has created the Fabian, spreading the seed of life everywhere. Hold on. I'm missing an important event. Happens after that. So at what point in the timeline? It seems like that happens first. So it must be here. Protection. Minus 300,000. I think then this moves up here. Pocket dimension to protect them. Yeah. Kale did nothing wrong. Ah, you people. The dwarves are born, the orcs are born, the Maratha arrive. There. That's it. That's our main timeline. And now we're here at what's going on. So there's going to be probably 2,000 years of this slow build to peak civilization. And then it's going to be an apocalyptic event right around here. And then it'll be something like 1,000 years later. Spelling error? What? What are you talking about? Where? Shut up. So did the first soul know of the Maratha before it self-destructed, or is it the remnants of its sentience? It's the remnants of its sentience. So the idea here is that the first soul is like in this state of never-ending death. Like this universe only exists as long as the first soul is still ban Scott. Invictus? Wait, what? Are you sure about that? No. No, Invictus is correct. Right? Invincible. I'm right, you're wrong. Kale did nothing wrong. All right. So let's just stamp these out. Peak civilization, apocalypse, Reconstruction. I know that these three events need to exist, and I'm just going to loosely go over them right here. Under the influence of the Maratha, the dwarves achieve. This needs to be shorter. Let's write it here in chapter 2. The dwarves dug deep and soon brought Solania and all its wondrous power to the outer world. to the surface. With its massive energy, it could power new creations, the likes of which had never been seen. Victus, as the sole proprietor? No. Sole what? Kale should have obeyed Lord Garithos, true leader of the Alliance. Ah, God. Yeah, sure. Yes, the dwarves dug too greedily and too deep. It's hard to get away from that Tolkien trope. I really enjoy it. I don't think it's ever been used quite correctly, though. Because, you know, Warcraft dwarves don't... They're miners, but they never dug too deep. I guess there is a couple quests that kind of indicate that, but... As the sole miners of Solania, the dwarven kingdom soon grew to power. Their castles, their flying castles, dominated the skies. Flying island castles dominated the skies. And all knew that true power lied within dwarven engineering. The orcs could scarcely make a mark upon them until Mortem began to whisper in their ears. What if elves were craggy miners? Dwarves, warful savages, and orcs beautiful and immortal? No. I mean, sure. But the thing is, they've already made the dwarves, so the dwarves kind of look how the dwarves look. I don't want to go too far from the traditional tropes here, just because it's not my world, and I know that they probably want it to have some traditional classic appeal. But hey, we've got dwarven flying island castles, which I think is pretty cool. Do we need dragons? Where would I even put them? I think we can just stick with these players for now. Flying castles. Castle in the sky. Castle Cagliostro. Alright, the orcs need a weapon. Or some methodology to deal with the dwarves. That makes sense. Put them in sandwiches. Evil and cunning and nasty dragons? We don't... I mean, dragons can be a pantheon of dragons. Like, it doesn't have to be just one note. But I don't think we need dragons here. Unless that's how the orcs beat the dwarves. That's interesting. What if it's the orcs who basically discover the first dragons? And then they kind of cultivate them or enslave them. Orcs need catapults. Now you want me to get sued. Let's see. Through Mortem's vision of all life. The orcs discovered the eggs of galactic creatures laid within crevice. They collected them and warmed them and mothered them. Motherly orcs. Until they hatched and the first dragons were born. So the dragons are going to take out civilization. Yeah. Dwarven technology reaches its peak. Flying castles. Wondrous weaponry. Peak civilization. Blah. Now we get the apocalypse. The destructive nature of these beasts were unfathomable in a world of humanoids. They grew massive in size in only a few decades, and soon the orcs were ready to wreak destruction across the lands. Dragon eggs is like cannibalism? Interesting. I think these dragons are gonna be a gamut, meaning some are like this, some are like that. So like black dragons spit acid. Oh, I guess that's 2 Dungeons and Dragons. We need a gimmick for our dragons. What's our gimmick? Well, first of all, they're not from here. They weren't born on Invictus. I mean, they hatched on Invictus, but they weren't born here. So dragons are actually space creatures. And they just came, landed on the planet, laid their eggs, and then took off. This is something I tried to put in another game, and I got shut down on it because they just couldn't fathom anything other than traditional dragons. Flying castles, you may not like it, but this is what peak civilization looks like. Goddamn right. If we had flying castles, I think we would consider it peak civilization here. I don't think dragons are going to explode like banelings, but they're going to be far more destructive than anyone understood. We need an apocalypse word. Let's swap. Apocalypsis. I like it. As the orcs attacked the... Oh wait, it has to destroy the Solania. Hold on. Hold on. All technology has to be vaporized. Right. This is something I didn't think about. Want magic obsessed elves? No. It's been done. The Fae and the elves haven't been fleshed out too much here. Other than Fae are like seeders of life and elves are like architects of life. which there's a lot of room to grow for them. The problem here is that the dragons need some sort of destructive force that actually destroys Solania. Fathomable in a world of humanoids. They grew massive in size in only a few decades, and soon the orcs were ready to wreak destruction across the lands. As the orcs attacked the dwarven strongholds, they soon realized that the acidic breath of the dragons did more than just melt metal and stone. It evaporated, or it caused the Solania that powered all dwarven creations to explode. The war was almost over before it began. Every weapon of the dwarves became an explosive device that would mete out destruction on its wielders. Within only 100 years, all of the creations from Solania were gone, and the orcs and their dragons reigned supreme. There's your apocalypse. Yeah, it could have an EMP-like effect. I mean, like, I don't know. Is this destructive enough? Should it be even more destructive? Yeah, we can slip it in right here. What's worse? What is worse? Even worse. The Solania, as it was destroyed, would send out shockwaves that would destabilize other Solania built machinery, causing them to explode as well. There we go. Super apocalypse. All the dwarf axes and swords just turned off. That would suck for them, wouldn't it? A Baneling king. That would be very short-lived, wouldn't it? The dragons fire Banelings. Okay, you guys. Let's calm down just a little here. The dragons reign supreme. All right, we have our apocalypsis. Apocalypsis. We're gonna have to slip in the dragons being born above this. Dragon eggs. This is like 2030. Orcs are led. Dragons. Orcs with their dragon mounts utterly destroy all Solania creations, and their destabilization causes them to explode and destroy all technology. The races are set back to the dark ages. All Solania tech destroyed. dragon eggs explode with acid? How would that help? What, do they just drop their island fortresses on the orcs? What? I mean, that's pretty destructive. That's how it could be imagined if there's like a cinematic. All right. Though victorious, the orcs were shocked when the dragons decided to leave, having taken what they needed and enjoying their destructive efforts. Having taken what they needed and feeling that then there was no more massive destruction to be wrought, the dragonflights left the world of Invictus to seek their own worlds to lay their eggs upon and prepare a new wave of destruction. So now the orcs are back to square one, apparently. All right. Now we have the Reconstruction era. The elves and fae forbid the dwarves from ever mining Solania again. Though civilization did rebuild and soon came to stabilize, it would never reach the peaks that it had when the dwarves had taken Solania, crafted their amazing creations with until one day. All right, there. That's the history. So I got us to the point. I got us to that point. There's some back stuff I need to do with the elves and the fae, because like this period here, this what 400 years, it's gonna need some fleshing out. Dragonflights is a very old term. I think it goes back to Dungeons and Dragons, or maybe it's Dragonlance. But basically, it's the different types of dragons. It comes from Dragonlance, I'm pretty sure, from Margaret Weiss and Tracy Hickman's novels. But like each color of dragon was a dragonflight. So in the Dragonlance mythos, there's Tiamat, who is the chromatic dragon, and then each color is a dragonflight. So red, green, blue, white, black. And then there's the chromatic dragons. No, sorry. What is it? The metallic dragons. Gold, silver, bronze. Gold, silver, bronze. Platinum? Gold, silver, bronze, platinum. Copper? Something like that. I just know it's 5 and 5. What did the elves and fae do during the orc dwarf wars? Died a lot, that's for sure. Is there anything Blizzard doesn't steal? All works are derivative, man. If you look far back enough, it'll come back to Tolkien eventually. Even Dungeons and Dragons comes from Tolkien. Built on Tolkien. Blizzard built on Dungeons and Dragons. Like, I don't consider it theft, really. It's just, don't be afraid to use something that came before. There's this idea that like in order to create something new, you have to like truly do it on your own, and you can't use anything that came before, and if it is, it's derivative. But there's really not a new thought in the world. It's impossible. And once you understand that, then you understand that the shit that I do, the writing and the the game design and stuff, it really is just having a large enough library of stuff to draw from that it seems new, because I'm combining ideas from all these different stuff that you've probably never heard of. It's like a magic trick. I look wise and creative when really I'm just building on the backs of giants. All right, I think I'm done for today. Unless there's something you guys want to do. So the Reconstruction era, elves and fae take over. Solania is forbidden. Jolkin, Woken, Tolkien's legacies. Dogecoin is down. Oh no. Weird. All right. More lore. It's not yet a bore. You sure about that? Check cell D2. What? True creation. Didn't Blizzard get sued by WotC and agree to change terms in Warcraft 3? No, they didn't get sued. They were worried about getting sued, and we changed a bunch of stuff because they might get sued. Forbidden mining sets up a nice black market. Yes, it does. And actually, this is where the story is going to start. So we're going to start around 35 something. Elven dominant society. I think the elves are going to be the oppressors in this story. And the dwarves are like... So keep in mind that pretty much what all this is not going to be known. So the elves will know stuff kind of starting from here. And the dwarves will only know stuff starting from here. And then the orcs just don't give a shit. They're like the young ones. And then by this point, most of this stuff will be forgotten. Except for by the elves and the fae. So the elves and the fae are going to seem really oppressive. Because they're going to be like, no, you don't mind Solania. Don't build that engineering shit. Get the fuck out of here. Goddamn dwarves. D3. What? Oh! Nailed it. Thanks, Gilmore. Right. History, or this is called a timeline. You guys want to brainstorm units now? Just like the real D3 was the problem. Poor Diablo 3. I'm sure it was a good game, I just can't fucking play it because it's always online. Mechanical clock. Listen here, you halfling. Last time you built something, an island fell in our forest. Yeah, that kind of stuff. Dwarves of all kingdoms unite. Yeah, the dwarves are going to be super oppressed, I think. And it'll make sense. The Fae should turn into whiny SJWs who tell the elves to check their privilege. Why you gotta bring politics into this, man? Alright. Unit name. I don't think we'll be doing stats. I'll just do descriptions. Dwarven miner. Oops. Art mimics life. You don't have to mimic the shitty parts. That's what fantasy's about. There's a lot of people who are obsessed with doing that, though. Slipping their politics into everything. Poisoning everything. Ruining the fun of everything. What? How did this not work? Okay. Dwarf should have a sniper? Probably would. Yeah, I guess they could go back to gunpowder. War pig. A guerrilla faction. Well, now they would have to be because they're not allowed to have anything. Yeah, there will definitely be some sort of civil war, civil disorder. And now because the dwarves are oppressed, there's going to be some problems between them and the elves. This is how the dwarf and elven rivalry starts in this world, I suppose. Where the elves are like, no, you don't understand. You guys fucked up. We're never letting you do that shit again. No more Solania, no more. Stop mining. Maybe it's forbidden for dwarves to mine. And they have to like do it on the sly. War pig ability has the power. Forbidden throughout. Dangerous task. Finding precious metals. Makes them highly coveted. But also under threat of a lifetime of imprisonment. Wrap text. I just preemptively do that. Diggy diggy hole. I don't get that reference. What is diggy diggy hole? By the way, for people who don't know, I have Twitch and YouTube chats going at the same time via Restream. There's even Trove, but no one seems to use Trove, so don't know what to do about that. Utilizing the ancient weapons of gunpowder. These sharpshooters must account for the physics and wind. Physics of the world. And weather. Taking a shot. Some nerd sang a song where the only lyric was about a dwarf digging his hole. Is this on YouTube? Do I even look for this, or is this just gonna upset me? Diggy, diggy hole. Okay. What the F? Where's this from? On elves. There's a t-shirt, of course. Diggy Diggy Hole. Song available on iTunes and Amazon? Oh my. Well then. Oh, that was disruptive. Alright. Yeah, we're not far enough along to do this kind of stuff, I think. Though I can imagine what this would be. Something like that. Diggy Diggy Hole. Elves based on CIA style subversion? Like, what do you mean? Are they going to be constantly getting the dwarves to fight with the orcs? Hey, Codarius. I finished up the history and got us up to the modern age. Probably put this somewhere. I think I'll put this into a Google document set, and then I'll just link you guys all the stuff. I gotta do a better job over here of separating out the chapters. Let's do some cleanup. All their units are just proxy forces from other factions that never actually show up in the game. Sneaky, sneaky elves. The elves. Ligma. Shut up. Ah. Yeah, that's a shitty name. How about Peak civilization. It's also kind of a silly name. God damn it. Marvels of technology. The elves Tolfey. Stop. Apocalypsis. That one works. The dragons. The apocalypsis. Rise of the elves. Are the elves in decline at the start of the story or firmly in control? A more declining empire with its military being mainly composed of mercs would be a nice parallel to the late days of the Western Roman world. I think the elves fall out of favor when the Solania tech sort of takes over. So yeah, they could be sort of in control. Elves are best known as the artists of life. Elven civilization formed. They kept strict watch over what would come next, making sure to share their creations with others, but denying them if they felt at the slightest provocation challenged their power. A little bit of that, a little bit of edge there. There will be no elves consuming orcish artifacts and turning into half-demons, thank you. Keep your Eladin mythology out of my SolCraft mythology. It's too late to be eating a snack. So we don't have a good idea of what this era feels like yet. That's something I can work on later. But it doesn't matter too much because we're in this post era here. Present day. Ivan story. Which is already written and is in another document. I'll get to that another time, I think. But here we've got our pre-lore, so I'm done. Yep, I'm done. Elves consuming orcs? They're just elven cannibals? Orcs consuming elven artifacts and turning into half elitists? Okay, guys. I've given you the basis from which that you can write your own stories any which way you please. So, there you go. Save. Save. Alright. I'm gonna stop here. Before I go, any questions? I always like to do a Q&A before I go. Because sometimes... the orcs consume Chardonnay, becoming elves. Alright guys, yeah. Hope you enjoyed it. I'm going to call it a day. And look, I have an end stream thing now.